10 years ago, I built the Yottaminx. At the time, it was the biggest Minx puzzle in the world. This is the Yottaminx today, and for its 10-year anniversary, I decided to make it floppy. Today, you will see how the Floppy Yottaminx was made, and if you stick around to the end, you will see me attempt to solve it. The first step to building the Floppy Yottaminx was to design it on my computer. Let's first walk through why this is shaped the way it is. This is a proportional Floppy Yottaminx. It's considered proportional because the side pieces are perfect squares. I didn't build my version to look like this because it would break the laws of physics. Notice here that a lot of the parts are overhanging very far. You can see that mid-turn, all of these pieces are detached from the rest of the puzzle. Puzzles with overhanging parts are allowed to exist. For instance, the corner pieces on this 3x3x8 overhang very far, but the 3x3x8 is allowed to exist because there are some turns where the corners don't overhang. As long as there's one non-overhanging turn for every piece, a puzzle should be able to exist. There are minor exceptions to this, like proportional floppy cubes, which in theory should not work because of the zero thickness point of contact the corners have with the rest of the puzzle. But proportional floppy cubes take advantage of bending center caps to allow room for the corner mechanism. Another exception is the proportional 7x7 made by my good friend Jacob, which uses a more complicated squircle mechanism that he describes in more detail on his YouTube channel, Jacob Cubing. But the overhangs on the Floppy Yottaminx are beyond extreme. So I had to get creative to make this thing work. You might have noticed that mass-produced big cubes have an outer layer that's a little bit thicker than the rest. If we apply this same idea to the Floppy Yottaminx and make it a little bit thicker, we find that the corner pieces no longer overhang. This is a valid Floppy Yottaminx that you could build, but it looks very stupid. It is far too thick to earn its place in the floppy family, so we need to make it thinner. Another way to compensate for extreme overhangs is to use curvy turning cuts. Here's an example of minor curvy cuts on a helicopter dodecahedron. And this is an example of extreme curvy cuts on the tetragonal domino, which I built a couple years ago. This demonstration helps explain why curvy cuts prevent overhangs. These are both 3x3 cubes, but I set the outer layer to just 2 millimeters. It might not be obvious how these two cubes are just 3x3s, but if you look closely, you'll see that they share all the same pieces as the original 3x3. Center pieces, edge pieces, and corner pieces. And they both turn like 3x3s too. Because of these extreme overhanging corners, the cube on the left would not work. But notice that the corners on the curvy cube can still hang on. A 2 millimeter thick corner is typically impossible, but the curvy turns allow for it. By applying curvy turning cuts to the Floppy Yottaminx, we can make it much thinner without the overhanging corners being a problem. I went with the happy medium, where the cuts are not too curvy and the puzzle is not too thick. The final touch to make the Floppy Yottaminx look more proportional is to add pillowing, similar to this 15x15. Pillowing helps to reduce the size of the edges, which we made thicker in the beginning. Most of the material you see here is not actually needed for the Floppy Yottaminx to function. The entire mechanism is contained within a ball. The Floppy Yottaminx you saw earlier is this ball getting projected onto a pentagonal prism. So when we pillow the Floppy Yottaminx, we can remove as much material as we want as long as it doesn't interfere with this ball. It's time to bring this thing to life, so I sent the files over to my factory of 3D printers. And after a couple days, it was ready to assemble. Two of my best friends also share the hobby of puzzle building, so I invited them over to help assemble this. The first thing we assembled was the frame, which is just a giant floppy Megaminx that's used to hold all of the parts in. Next, we put in all of the large edge pieces, which are called wings. The wings are large and difficult to insert, so they came before the much smaller center pieces. After finishing up the wings, all we had to do was place the remaining tiny centers in these large holes. This was the funnest part of the assembly, and it felt like doing a jigsaw puzzle. What made it even more fun was getting to do it with my friends. I could not think of a better way to spend a Saturday than assembling a Floppy Yottaminx with two of my best cubing friends. Alas, it is assembled. But as you can see, it turns like crap. And from experience, I immediately knew exactly what was wrong. Since I made the Floppy Yottaminx stickerless, I actually decided to print the wings in 3 pieces and glue them together. As you can see here, when I was gluing the pieces on, I had to manually line it up straight. Even though the alignment of these pieces was near perfect, it was still consistently off by fractions of a millimeter. To demonstrate that close-up, here's what a wing looked like while I was designing it. In a perfect world, the 2 pieces of the wing would be glued straight like this, but the 2 pieces were slightly misaligned. A small amount of error is okay when it's just one piece, but when many pieces with small amounts of error are stacked together, the error becomes large. Now to explain this better, imagine that the wing is this square. When we glue the multiple pieces of the wing together, they're slightly misaligned, and that's going to add a little bit of error to this wing. This is how thick the wing should be, and this is how thick it actually is. It's not that big of a difference. However, we have many wings stacked on top of each other. But this is how tall the stack of wings should be, and this is how tall it actually is. Now this is a large error, and this is what's happening with the wings that I glued together. The extra size of the wings was unplanned for, and is putting a lot of pressure on the rest of the mechanism, causing way too much friction during turns. I really wanted the Floppy Yottaminx to turn well, so I decided to fix it. My first thought was to reprint all the wings, but go back in the design and make them all slightly thinner to compensate for the error. As you can see, this definitely would have worked. However, it would have required me to reprint all of the wings, which would have taken a long time and cost a lot of extra plastic. I instead realized that it's possible to have just one of the wings account for all of the error. This way, I only have to reprint one of the wings, instead of having to reprint all of them. As you can see, this one wing is compensating for all of the error. I know this idea seems a little bit crazy, but when you look at how much I actually took off of the one wing, you'll see that it's not that much to the point where it would cause problems. After reprinting and re-gluing the wings, I disassembled the Floppy Yottaminx just enough to take out the old wings and replace them with the new ones. I'm in love with the result. The turning quality is similar to mass-produced big cubes. It turns smoothly, easily, and never locks up. My only complaint is that it weighs 10 pounds, which sometimes makes playing with it feel like a workout. Here I'm doing a pseudo checkerboard pattern, and then when it's finished, I'm gonna mix it up and you'll see me try and solve it for the first time.
Time to solve the Floppy Yottaminx. I don't know how I'm gonna solve this, so watch me struggle, watch me fight. I will get it though. I'm a persistent man, so it's gonna happen eventually. My plan is reduction, like solve the center first, and then pair the edges, and then solve it like a giant Floppy Megaminx. But I've never even solved the Floppy Megaminx before. It's stupid to assume that even that would be easy. The first observation I have, which I've already noticed before on giant floppy puzzles, is the center pieces are tied to the opposites. So like this long center here is always going to be opposite of this white center. So see how it's like white, yellow, and this is true for all the centers. I don't know why that's useful, but it seems like something we can take advantage of here. I'll just start by going from inside out. The first thing we'll do is get the white cross. The white cross is done. I'm gonna try and get the corners around it. So we have 3 of them done, and we just need to get these 2. This looks like a pattern that's probably pretty simple to get. This. So we got the smallest center. So now I'm gonna try and expand it out a bit. Let's go out one more. We got the cross. Now we gotta get the remaining centers, which looks actually pretty hard. Start with these two. I think I can fix these two. Right. Can't believe that works. Okay, these two need to switch. These two can switch. I'm pretty positive I know how to switch them. This, and then the double adder. Nice! Finally, we've got to switch these two. Wait, how the heck do I do that? I don't know what to do. Okay, oh, what if I moved this one here, this piece, went up here, and then we move it there. Yeah. Oh, I just figured it out. Okay. Left hand. What the actual heck is going on? That did not work. But wait, if we undo the setups, oh, then we need to do swap. How did that work though? And no, this is just, I did it. I have solved the inside of the both sides. I found a way basically to switch two pieces. I could do setups and then swap two centers at a time, but this is gonna just take so long having to do that. Next, I'm gonna solve the next ring. I somehow managed to get the 3x3 sections on each of these centers, minus this one here, which is pretty terrifying. I really don't know how to go about solving this. I think I need to just give up or write a program that can do this for me. My dilemma is there's these two bars and then these two bars, and I need to switch. I think I just need to do some like crazy setup move and just like spin this block all the way around the whole thing. Wait, let me map that out in my head, make sure it'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, this is gonna suck, but I think I know what to do. I did it. I got the first 3 rings. And that third ring took me a lot longer than the second ring. I do think I know how to do it. I think I can figure out the rest. Yeah, on to the next ring. Ring number 4. We finished the 4th ring. I am going to do the 5th ring next. I'm getting faster at doing the center switches. It takes so many turns. And this thing is heavy, this thing. On to the 5th ring. Sweet. We got the first 5 rings done, so we're on to the very last ring. I think I'm getting the hang of it. It's really not that bad to solve, actually. I found a faster way to switch 2 pieces accidentally. For some of these cube rotations, I feel like I'm driving a boat. Back. Boat. Did I just call them cube rotations? I think I meant to say pentagonal prism rotations. Ha! Last 2 centers might look easy, but to do this switch, the way I found is to move this piece to here. So that is 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. And I do the algorithm that swaps these 3. This. You see how this one's solved now? And the unsolved one is now here. So we just undo everything. Now it's just swapping these 2, which is a lot easier. It's done. The center is done. Oh my God, yes. The center caps have been falling out, and I don't like glue them in yet. I gotta come up with a better solution to keep them in, because as I'm breaking this in, it's getting a lot looser, and I'm gonna probably want to tighten this afterwards. So I don't want to do anything to get the caps permanently stuck in. Nice. Nextly, we are going to pair the edges. You can't really do free slice on a Floppy Yottaminx, so I think I'm just gonna do 1 by 1 cycling, probably starting from the inside out. So solve the center and then the 2 next to it adjacent. Yeah, nice. We got all of the inners. These 3, these 3, these 3, these 3, these 3, they're all good. I figured out how to do it eventually, but it was actually a lot more challenging than I thought it would be. Edge pairing on this is not like normal big cubes. You have to get creative. I figured out how to switch 3 wings at a time, so I just kept doing 3 cycles until they all were solved. You can only cycle a certain 3, so it can be really challenging if the 3 you need to cycle aren't in the right places. You have to sometimes do more than 1 3 cycle. Let's keep going. I am done with the next one. So we got 5 on each side. So we've got a bunch more to go, but yeah, we've made some really good progress. Oh, what is this? Looks like a center might have fallen out. It's actually the first time it's happened. This solve has gone really well. Like this puzzle handled phenomenally well. And let me fix this. Pop this piece back in. Nice. Let's continue on to the next one out. Nice. We are done. The next one, that one went really fast. I have a pretty good strategy, and it is to first pick one edge to solve. Imagine this edge is solved, and then we want to pick one of these 2 to solve. Say we have these 2 solved. We can do 3 cycles really easily between like these 3 pieces. I see this orange one I can solve pretty quickly, so I'm just going to start off with that. This one here, I just solved. And now I want to solve this orange wing. And that is right here. That's another easy one. So the orange one is done. Next we gotta solve the red or the green. And the one that will be easier to solve is the, let's do red. Red's easier. Nice, solved red. Did orange, red, and now we can solve these 3. I'll do purple first. Actually, it's just gonna solve the green. I wasn't even trying to solve the green. 4th wing. Nice. We have solved all the wings. We're not done though. I'm gonna do the next one now. That was the fastest one yet by far. That took probably a minute to solve these. The very last wing, and then it'll be a Floppy Yottaminx. Yeah, it is now Floppy Yottaminx. Look at that. We paired all of the wings, dude. My plan for the Floppy Yottaminx is to turn it aimlessly until it is in the solved state, because I know there's not very many scrambled states. I guess I can fix the big parts first and then the corners last. I mean, those parts are trivial. Pick one corner at a time. This corner needs to go here. Well, it's gonna go in the wrong way if I do that. Well, maybe I move it out first. Yeah, nah. Actually, while I was doing that, I did solve this one. This corner here. I guess the turn it aimlessly method worked pretty well. Okay, we were down to these 4 corners, and yeah, I'm just gonna continue with the turning it aimlessly method. Think like, bam, bam, bam. Come on. That. What the heck is this crap? It's literally these 2 corners are flipped in their place. All right, think about this. It just needs to travel all the way around the cube. And then, yeah, because 5 turns will flip it an odd number of times. So by the time it's back to where it started, it'll be the right way. But everything else is screwed up. Let's just keep doing the turning it aimlessly thing. Because I'm just gonna solve this one corner and yeah. Okay, we need to solve this corner. This corner needs to be turned 5 times. So I'm gonna turn it 5 times. Corners are all solved now. Nice, that actually worked. I don't know why that worked. It kind of makes sense why that worked. All I gotta do is flop these 2 centers now. That's probably just as trivial as alternating the turns, right? Left, right, left, right. It is. Yes. Yeah. 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 I did it. I solved the Floppy Yottaminx. Woohoo! Let's put in some the centers, just for completion sake. And there it is. The Floppy Yottaminx has been solved. Oh yeah, solved. This thing broke in well too. It's after I finish solving it, it just turns very well now. The whole thing is so good. FDM puzzles have come a long way. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.